It's a great day here at KEKFILA's YouTube channel. My name is KEKFILA, aka Sage, and I'm bringing you match 6 out of 8 for the Treasure Cup for Carta Magica. I'm facing Steven. He is from Atlanta, Georgia. This is a pretty interesting matchup, pretty cool guy. And I lose a dice roll. He decides to go second still. I think I'm kind of mixed on this, what I would choose to do. I like to go first generally, but it just depends on the opponent. I think most opponents I'll choose to go first against, but I know some opponents at my locals I would choose to go second against. Just what they're comfortable with, and they're just kind of cracked. So at this time I am X-1. I lost round 4. And I'm just on a high of just doing really well, talking to my opponents. I'd always tell everybody, hey, I have 300 viewers on stream. I had 30 at the time, which I'm very happy about. But I just add a 0 on there. So we go through just our cutting methods here. And I'm just going to skip through a little bit to get this game started. We both did decide to mulligan. And that always leaves, you know, some room for everything. When both players mulligan, the game feels like we both chose to not play the best hand, right? We get the hand that we're dealt. I actually forgot to put my life out, funny enough. And he ends up going turn 1 Bonnie against me. And I decide to play down my Perona. Normally I wait till turn 2 to place down anything, but I decided to place down the Perona because I want to swing this into his Bonnie if he ever swings his Bonnie, and I need him to do that. And I actually had this game of I need this Bonnie gone. That was in my head essentially from the moment he placed it. This Bonnie has to go. And I discard a 1k in order to guard that. He plays a Nukiku for 2. And he leaves 1. He's not going to use the Bonnie. Pretty smart of that. And honestly, I don't know why he just didn't throw a Dawn on his leader. But that is fine. I end up putting 3 on my leader, paying 1. Just to play this Kuma. I want to put him in a weird spot. I needed a body to kill this Kiku if he swings it. And that body, hopefully, will be my saving grace. But good news is he only has 2 attacks here. And it depends on how much he puts into these attacks. So he ends up swinging 7 or 5 at my Kuma. I'm assuming he's swinging at my Kuma. I'd probably just take these, but I decided just to counter out. And he ends up playing an X-Drake, which KOs that. And it looks like I just wanted to keep the body. I didn't have a Pacifista in hand. It looks like I had a Bluffafista. I end up going 8 again, doing the Gecko Moria, and I decide to pick up the Kuma. Looks like maybe I had some devious plans. I have 2 Dawn active just for Love Mellow here. Looks like I had nothing better to do with the Dawn regardless, even if it's a Bluff Mellow. It's fine. I guess I didn't really need to have the use for using the 2 Dawn. So my opponent ends up paying 1, finally using his Bonnie. This Bonnie has to go. Absolutely. I think he ends up whiffing, which is really unfortunate. And he ends up going 6k at the Moria. I give him a 2k. And then he puts 1k and I give a Love Mellow. I get to draw 1 card. He asked me, how many cards do you have? Oh, yep, I had 4. Basil Hawkins. And this is when I said, wow, you play every good card in Kinemon, don't you? Every card that is very good, you play it, and he happens to just play down one of the better cards that's probably extremely good against me too. So first thing here, I need to kill his Bonnie. I decide I have an extra Dawn floating, and I'm going to swing 3 at this Bonnie. I'm going to play the blocker here in order to get use of the skill of my top decking skill here. And you know, he hasn't hit my life, so essentially I might be just placing big Mihawks. I may actually have 2 Mihawks in hand or within sight. That would be pretty good board control. And it looks like I first decide to Like I think here for quite a while on what my action might be. I'm thinking his Basil Hawkins sucks anyway. So do I give him a target to attack? Or do I... Yeah, so I decide, screw it. I'm just going to give him a target to attack. I don't care about this Moria very much. So I'm going to go 6 the Mihawk right here. I'd rather get the cards out of his hand. 7 at his... I'm sorry, his X-Drake. He gives me a 2K and a 1K. And I tell him, hey, man, yeah, you only have to give me a 2K for that. And he's like, oh, okay. Sounds good. But I get the Jinbei out, which is pretty good, right? He's going to swing probably big on both of these targets. And I just wanted to get a body out in order for, you know, them to attack something, essentially, right? Me swinging with the Gecko Moria 2 doesn't really mean too big of a deal. So he ends up swinging 6 at my Jinbei. I pretend the skill doesn't exist anymore. And he ends up swinging 5 at that. And he's going to get skill out of it anyway. I'm not going to give him a card. He swings 7 at the Perona. Obviously, I'm letting that go. And he just has the whole world here. You know, he has 8 Dawn available. He puts 8 Dawn down, placing this down. He's not going to swing with the Basil. I think that's just, you know, well, I'm great. I get to bottom deck his Basil. Sounds legit. I go 6 at his X-Drake and bottom decking the Basil. So he's already discarded 2 killers here. Pretty insane value for me. He goes to 3 cards in hand, right? And... you know, he's doing everything pretty much by the books here, as far as his card placement goes and everything with that as well. Kinemon player, he decides to swing 5K at my leader. I give a 2K counter. I have like a few cards left in my hand. And he goes 6 at my leader. I'm forced to take this. He goes 8 at my leader. I'm thinking about blocking it, but I just rather take it. Ends up paying 5, or no, 8 again. And then placing a killer. So he uses all 10 Dawn to place a killer and place an Odin. So this guy is kind of nutted when it comes to this. And I decide maybe the best method of attack might actually be placing another Mihawk. I need to get the blocker out of here. He only has 1 card in hand. I don't really want to get rid of his Akiku. I don't care about that. And then I go 5 at life, paying 1, and I'll place the Perona. I just want to get a good draw here. I need to get something defensive, like Love Mellows, blockers, kind of to see what's on the horizon. Generally, though, looking at this, you know, I have 3 life. I can't kill him in 1 turn. I'm gonna have to kill him in 2 follow-up turns, which is kind of hard when he has an Odin here. So I stack it the way I like to do it, and then he goes to his turn drawing. He only has 2 cards in hand. He's extremely limited on the way he's played this game. He just kind of defended his 6K bodies when I was gonna just kill them anyway. But he got those Odins out here. I have no really way to get rid of them. I don't want to attack into them because getting Ukiku out just makes it so my blocker Doflamingo is kind of useless. He swings 10, most likely at my Mihawk. I decide to think it's easier to defend a Mihawk than it is to defend my life. This 2K counter is actually worth a lot more. So he pays 3, he wants to restand it, and he swings 10 again, and I give him another 2K counter. And I have 2 cards in hand now. He goes 10 again at my Mihawk, and he has 3 Dawn left. I decided to finally let that go. And he thinks here just for a moment. He goes 5 at my life. Oh, wait, no, maybe not. I think he thinks here for quite some time. Oh, he plays the Cat Viper, resting my blocker, making it kind of pesty, swinging 6 to blocker. That's fine. Again, he's at 3 life. I only have 3 attacks. I cannot kill him this turn. There is no absolute way to do that. But I hope I stacked my deck in a way where I can survive a turn and punch him through. I need to really punch to get through this board. And it looks like I think here for some time, talking things out, thinking about what the best play is, and I do take a long time. I swing 9 at his leader, and he decides to take it, no trigger, and then I pay 8 at his leader, getting the Gecko Moria out, and I get the 2K counter. And then I pay 4 for a blocker, and then I pass turn. It looks like I only have like 3 cards in hand. I have 2 active, and I don't know if it's a bluff mellow. I hope it's a card in my hand, right? But this opponent, he needs to think, does he need to kill me? Does he need to kill my board? He only has 1 life left. Does he need to go for my... Can he just kill? He can kill my board, but then I still have 3 standing targets. I could still punch through him. He needs to go a little defensive or play tricky, right? I just think he thinks here for a long time, and he decides to play it extremely tricky, right? Basically, he's putting me to make a mistake. So he ends up attaching 3 Dawn here, and he's swinging 11. It's probably at the Mihawk itself, and again, I decide it's easier to defend a Mihawk than it is to defend my life. So I put 4. I just use this. It makes sense. I draw a card. I bet you that card I drew is a Pacifista. And then it looks like to me he goes 5 at my Gecko. And this is where I felt it was a little awkward. I did want to do that, so I used the Pacifista to guard the Gecko, even though that's probably my only Pacifista. I just wanted to make it hard for him to attack either my Gecko or that. He doesn't have a ton of Dawn, and I want him to use 6 Dawn to restand both of his characters to clear my field. But then he's left with no Dawn to use like a Punk Gibson. So he decides to get tricky with it, right? And he looks everything. He swings 8K. He probably swung it at my Gecko Moria. I'm thinking, oh, do I block this? Do I block that? I'm gonna let that die. Let's just be honest. I'm letting that die. So I let it die, and he then contemplates. He's gonna pay 3 here, and again, he's doing this math with his fingers. I do the exact same thing. It's hilarious. Pays 3, restands the Odin, attacks into the Mihawk. I had another Pacifista, right? Actually, so I block that. I really want this Mihawk to live, and he's thinking, oh, dude, if I just restand this other Odin and put 1 Dawn, I can swing 9 into it. I have 1 card in hand, right? Which puts him in a tough spot, right? So he thinks for a while. He's thinking about moving those 3 Dawn. He decides not to. He has 5 cards in hand. Again, 5 cards in hand. 1 life. So I need to do 2 damage to win. And I have to really math it out with the cards I have. And if I like luck into mellows, I've already seen 2 mellows this game. If I luck into 1 or 2 more mellows, can I survive? But the answer is no. I can't survive. So I just decide first to swing 9K. I don't like the idea of him having a Pump Gibson, and he even feigns to do that. Like, honestly, big play. So he uses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 counter, 6K counter in order to counter out of that. So he had to use 3 2Ks in order to counter out of this. And I'm still thinking, man, he's still feigning his Pump Gibson to like bait me instead of attacking him. So I go 6 into life here, which and here's the thing. I would say, oh, Judge, he put it in his hand and then he activated it. But listen, I could tell that's the same card. Okay, he used the exact same card. He Pump Gibson, and I'm like, I had no doubt that was the same card. He Pump Gibson, resting my Mihawk. Brutal, super brutal. And I even had that in my I hit my head that would happen, but it happened. So I just needed to give myself a failsafe attack with the biggest attack last. That was my problem. So it rested my Mihawk, and then I do math here. Why would you have 3 Dawn open? You have 2 cards in hand. Are you dumb enough to do that? Do I swing 8K with my Perona? Do I have a chance to get out if, let's say, 2 of those cards in my life are Love Mellows? Can I get out of this, right? Is this absolutely possible at all? What is this? What is this card right here? Oh, I have 2 cards in hand. Okay. That's just showing that I have 2 cards in hand, because that's what I started the turn out with. Okay. So I'm thinking. I just think on this one for too long, thinking, well, if you got it, you got it. That's pretty hilarious. You pump Gibson me on that life there, but it just is what it is. And I decide then to just struggle for about probably a few minutes. Someone in my chat, go for it, winky face. I put 6 dot on it. I don't see chat, by the way, and he had no counter in hand. This is a complete bluff, and I show him I have a 2K, 1K, 1K. Yeah, I would have got wrecked. Right, there was no coming back from that. But I did get the win. The dub is important. It was obviously, I think, a very good game played by both of us. I think maybe if he utilized the killers more, maybe would have been in a better spot. But that's essentially it. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching this. The next game I'll be playing against as a kid, and that's also a very interesting game. And I guess I'll see you tomorrow. Ciao.